Stop drinking or you'll be dead in a year. This was a dreadful warning from the ICU doctor, leaving Travis with a life or death ultimatum. Welcome to Breaking Chains. I'm your host, Rodney Hood, and in this episode, we will delve into the gripping story of Travis, a talented tattoo artist and loving father who is also a chronic alcohol abuser. Growing up the son of an alcoholic father, a one percenter who lived hard and drank harder, Travis's journey is both harrowing and inspiring. So let's get started.
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's go!
All right, welcome to another episode of Breaking Chains, the Sober Mindset. Got my boy here, Travis Pointer. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show tonight.
Not a problem at all. You look amazing. And just so people know, the last time we were in this studio, we were doing other stuff, and we were all shit-faced, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah, a whole different lifestyle these days.
Yeah, so this is a totally different experience. I feel a lot better.
I feel great. I feel really good, man.
You look amazing. Real quick, how many days now?
Right now, let me look at my app, because I wasn't even tracking it until you told me to, but let me take a look at that. Because
no, that's the way to do it. That way you can post to everybody so they know they don't have to come up with bail money.
So right now, we're sitting as solid, absolute, no drinking, 1 month, 28 days, 8 hours, 43 minutes, and 38 seconds.
Nice.
So it's a small feat, man, but it's huge for me, so I feel really good about it.
I love it. Before we get started, I came up with a new nickname for you, STP.
STP.
Sober Travis Pointer.
I like it. Just
get a big STP tattoo on your forehead.
Might as well. I mean, it's not like I'm ever going to have a real job again. I mean, look at me. So
you got a real job, buddy. So health-wise, that's one of the main reasons that we got in touch, actually. I felt bad because I didn't know whether to ask you if you were still drinking or not. I knew you had some health issues. So as far as... what was your initial reaction when the doctor told you that if you didn't stop drinking, you're going to die?
I kind of just put it out the window. He's a quack. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm 40 years old. It's not that serious. There's no way that I can be this deteriorated at this point in my life.
Right.
And I didn't want to hear it. I didn't even want to try to think about not, it was incorporated in everything that I did.
Right.
I mean, 100%. Everything I did, I was drinking while I was doing it.
Sure.
So it was so uncomfortable for me to even think about not drinking.
Right.
And so when he said that, I came home and I told my wife, and she goes, well, I mean, you got a choice. What are you going to do? And I said, well, I'll cut down, but I'm going to drink because that's what I do. It's like my security blanket.
Absolutely.
And I did cut down, but I knew that wasn't going to be sustainable because there was no way that I was going to be able to maintain like a normal drinking level or a social drinking level. I already knew that wasn't going to be a thing. I kind of set myself up for failure. And then I just got really tired of feeling the way that I felt. And then I had this whole situation with my kidney that went wrong. And
kind of break that down for
me. So, when I initially went to the doctor and they told me that, listen, we won't have a conversation in a year because you won't be here if you don't stop drinking. And what started with that was I'd wake up every day and I was sick and I'd get dizzy. And I got to a point one time I was standing there and everything went black and I couldn't hear.
Wow.
And it scared me. And so I was having fevers and it was bad. So I went to the hospital and went through the whole process of it, and they did these tests, and that's when he goes, your liver has all the pre-markers for cirrhosis.
Whoa.
Your enzyme level is through the roof.
Okay.
You have severe liver damage, and that's when I was just like, no, that's not. You guys want money from me? That's what's going on.
Money grab.
And then fast forward about a month and a half, 2 months after that, then my kidney starts messing up on me. I ended up with kidney stone, but my ureter, when you drink a lot, it shrinks everything. Sure. So I got this stone that's stuck in my kidney that wouldn't come out. It was unbearable pain, worst pain I ever had in my life. And I went back to the doctor and they said, you got this problem. This is bad. You got to change something. And that's when it kind of clicked for me, being told twice and then feeling the way I was feeling. And I was like, I'm a father. I got a family. I was like, I have to make a decision. Do I want to continue with this love affair that I have of alcohol?
Right.
Or do I want to be here for my kids and be relevant and do the right thing? And then once I made up my mind to do that, it's going to sound cliche because it's a struggle. It's a struggle every day. But I had the determination for the first time in my life to do it because I just there was no alternative.
Right.
I'm not going to
Right.
go out like that.
Right.
So, I just started putting in the work and doing it, and it's probably been the best thing that's ever happened in my life.
I agree. And look at the smile on her face. My goodness. I bet everybody's happier. I know everyone around me is happier.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's a lot easier when, you don't have to deal with drunk Travis,
Right.
and
Right.
the temper was just drop of a hat,
Sure.
so it's been a lot better. I'm able to enjoy time with my kids a lot more,
Right.
know. In fact, I just got this tattooed right here on my throat, and it says "Time well spent,"
Nice.
and it's to remind me, every day I wake up,
Sure.
I got to make it the most that I can,
That's great.
because you
I
don't
like
have that stuff forever. You don't that this time I have my kids, my wife. It's not. It's fleeting. It's always going away.
Right.
So, it's been great. It's been good, man.
So, unlike myself, I knew I was ready. That was it. I didn't even have to get sick. I was sick every day. At what point, I mean, it sounds like you never even really came to the conclusion that you had a problem.
I didn't until I looked back. So throughout everything, I always said, well, I'm a function. I'm not an alcoholic because I function. I go to
Sure.
work. I never had a DUI. I've never gone to jail drunk. Well, I haven't in many years, but you know what I mean? Gone to jail drunk.
Right.
I drink daily, but it's not a problem.
Right.
That's a drinking problem is you drink and there's a problem.
Sure.
I didn't have problems.
Right.
And I didn't realize it, but I had a lot of problems. I had a whole lot of problems.
Right.
And I guess just kind of looking back at it, it was like, perfect example, my kids, I taught my daughter how to ride her bike so drunk I peed myself.
Wow.
And in the picture, I'm standing there with the bike on the street and there's pee all over the front. And I never thought there was a problem.
Right.
And then looking back, I'm like, that's not functional. That's not normal.
Right.
That's therapy fuel one day for my
Right.
kids. This is I'm not just affecting me. I'm
Right.
affecting everyone around me.
Right.
So,
There's functional, and then there's super lucky.
yeah.
Just lucky you didn't get a DUI a ton of times. Lucky you didn't kill somebody or kill yourself or
Yeah.
someone. There's functional and lucky, because I was functional. I worked a 40, 50-hour a week job. I made good money, but man, was my life a mess.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is until you take a step back and you that's part of the whole thing is you have to evaluate everything.
Sure.
And I mean, from the beginning,
Mhm.
I would lay in bed and I would think back to when I was a little kid, and I challenged myself, when was the first time you drank?
Right.
And then trying to, going through all those steps and just looking at it and going, I can really attribute a lot of problems I've had in my life to this
Sure.
that I was never able to prior.
Mm-hmm.
So, once you step back and you do that, you go through that stage of like, I'm a real pile of crap, like I can't believe that anybody even wanted to be around me,
Right.
let alone have any type of friendship, relationship, anything. Cause I out of control for years.
I used alcohol a lot of times to suppress emotion, for sure.
Absolutely.
And feelings and fear. And especially with my mom passing, that was one thing. And I got to the point, and that's what I'm leading up to, is where I said to myself, fuck it, if I die from drinking, I'll just see my mom that much faster in heaven, which is totally messed up because A, she wouldn't want that. And B, I don't think God lets you in if you drink yourself to death. I don't know, but that's
that might be you turn around and go the other way. Yeah,
right.
That thing, yeah.
So you've been seeing things that, looking back sober, man, it's the freakiest thing for the first like 3-4 weeks, because you're like, oh, wow, I have to actually deal with my emotions right now instead of just glug, glug.
Yeah.
And then bye-bye. And then let everybody else sort it out.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
leave a wake of destruction. That's their problem. I'm good.
Right.
I'm happy.
Right.
But yeah, it's crazy too, because all those emotions that have been suppressed for so long, when they surface and you have to deal with them sober, it's a whole different, it's traumatic,
Yeah.
100%.
It is. Let me ask you this. As a tattoo artist, which you do some amazing work I saw online, we'll go ahead and, we'll get all kinds of links and stuff going.
Thank you.
But also, how has your craft helped you cope with with the challenges of your drinking or addiction? Or has it been like something you had to kind of like, it took a little while?
It's definitely filled in a lot of time for me, because I spend
Sure.
a lot more time drawing and learning, because
Sure.
it's an evolving craft. And I've also added a lot, my hobby was drinking. So I've added other things. Like when I was 18 years old, I did a little bit of cooking school. I've always loved cooking, but I usually did it drunk.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
so
of course.
now I've started kind of taking that a little more serious. And I started a TikTok where I cook on TikTok and stuff. So I just added a
Oh,
lot
no
of
kidding. Okay.
a lot of different activities, work and then side things. I paint. I do a lot of stuff that at first I kind of thought, well, this is all this doing is it's distracting me, so I don't have to think about it, which is partially true.
Right.
But the other part of it is it opened up so much. Like I had so much time now because I'm not sleeping in, I'm not passed out on the couch or the floor or wherever. So it's like I got to find something productive to fill my time with. And then by doing that, I love the feeling of like, oh, I didn't think I could accomplish this. I didn't think I could do this.
Right.
And then when I started doing it, I'm like, okay, well, I'm able to do this now because I'm not drinking. So it was, just diving into something and having something to kind of hold on to,
Right.
to drag you through it.
Absolutely. Hobbies, baby.
Yeah.
Got to get some hobbies.
Absolutely.
And yeah, like I was saying, I've been painting furniture. I haven't been going out and getting it. I've just been grabbing shit out of my house. I'm like, I'm painting that today. And then just making a project out of it. But as far as like, what kind of strategies now? You're talking about hobbies. What other strategies do you use to help stay sober and keep your mind off of drinking? Because I know when we talked earlier, you said right off the bat, you're like, oh man, I ain't going to make this. I mean, I had to stop. I was like, I couldn't wait to go to rehab.
Right. I think for me, like I said, it took me a little while to get it, but once I got it, I was very steadfast in it. And my biggest motivation, outside of the hobbies and, what I do, just really my kids. I mean,
Sure.
My youngest is 7 years old, and I grew up without a whole lot of parental love and, all that
Sure.
stuff. And I didn't want to put that on her. I didn't want her to, or any of my kids, but especially the younger ones, that I wanted to be there. And so every time that it got difficult, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can have a little bit, or I'm going to have a cheat day. You can't have a cheat
An alcoholic
day.
with a cheat day.
Yeah,
What's that, a wine spritzer?
Yeah, one little airplane bottle or something,
Right.
and that's it. But we all know that's not going to be it.
That doesn't work.
So I would just, honestly, I'd just pull up my phone, look at a picture of my kids, and be like, do I want to see them at my funeral? Do I want to see me passed out somewhere again?
No.
I don't. And once I was able to kind of do that, that's been like the number one tactic for me. Just my family and my kids just keeping me motivated, and they've been on board. Everybody's been great, super supportive. So
yeah, that's great. I mean, you're a great guy. You always were a great guy, but now the true Travis is shining through. I mean, I could see it. And I was like, I was a little anxious, a little nervous. I'm like, I haven't seen you sober ever. You're talking, folks, two of the biggest drunks in Arizona in one room right now.
It's true.
Talking about sobriety. Who would have thought that?
Yeah, somewhere in hell they're having popsicles because you would have never thought,
No way.
And I've talked to people that know us,
Right.
or have been around, and Big Mike Monroe, actually,
Sure.
he hit me up. He's like, man, I didn't even know you weren't drinking. That's so cool. You're going to do that with Rodney. And I said, yeah. And he goes, you and Rodney, he goes, talking about not drinking is mind blowing to me.
Right.
I said, I know. When you and I have a conversation on the phone, it's like,
It's crazy.
dude, I can remember what you said. You know what I said. Like,
Right.
shit, you know my name, this show. So like,
Yeah,
we're doing really well.
Yeah. No, I mean, 100%. It's just a refreshing, beautiful, wonderful life. And I've been online looking at so many like sober sites because that's it. Like Instagram will just throw you all these sober follows, and there's so many personal little sites and public sites and podcasts out there. So much support. What about because I know some people are you gotta go to meetings, man. 90 meetings in 90 days. I went. They're fine. They're great. They're not for me only because I can get more out of doing stuff around my house and watching videos and talking to people like yourself. How about you?
So my current state, I have not been to a single meeting.
Right.
I was in rehab in 2007.
Oh, okay.
And that was that should have been the end because I lost my career. I lost everything at that time. And I went to rehab and I did a 30-day and I came back out and the first thing I did was I got a bottle of Jack.
Oh, jeez.
The first day out
At the airport.
Yeah, it was just horrible,
Right.
And I think that there was a lot of meetings and I'm not by any means like one of these atheists. There's something
Sure.
bigger than me. I don't know what
course.
it is, but I never liked the idea of hanging my hat onto something like that's my crutch. I got to do this, through God or through higher power, whatever it might be. I wanted to be directly responsible for what I did because I felt I was a lot more invested that way. And I don't know that everybody can do it, and I'm not saying I'm anything special, but I just did a lot of psychotherapy. I
Sure.
mean, where I really dissected myself and talked about it. What's triggered? We're not going to talk about the symptoms. What's making me have this hole that I have to fill?
Right.
And I think just, daily having that 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it might be, just kind of stare off into space and collect your thoughts. And how am I going to approach today? What are the things that are going to push me? So I guess it's almost like self-led, because
Sure.
I remember doing that in the meetings in 2007. But I haven't been, and I'm not against it. I mean, if I felt where I'm struggling, I'd jump all over it,
Sure.
because it's very invigorating to be around people who know what you've been through,
Right.
and have come out the other side, and to be able to do that combined is. It is a whole new source of power. So
Sure.
I get it. But like I said, I haven't had the need, because like I said, I wanted to do it me. I wanted to do it.
I understand. And I'm not dogging AA. A lot of people have great success through it. So I know we're new to this. Like we're here on a sobriety podcast.
Right.
Two dudes that just quit drinking within a half a year of each other. But, what advice would you give to somebody that was trying to quit drinking that may be in your eyes situation, or what would you say to somebody?
Don't let it become an ultimatum of death or losing a spouse or cutting off relationships that you have. Don't let that be a deciding factor. If you're already thinking about not doing it, then you're right where you need to be. And you've got to find out for yourself what that drive is. Anybody can get sober. Anybody can quit drinking. Anybody can. And there is a chemical aspect to it too. We've all
Sure.
been through draws and been sick and that whole thing. And I understand that. But you have to, it's more mental than anything to be able to look at it and decide. And once you're thinking about it, you're ready to go. You just have to find out what that hot button is. That's going to take you over the hill to make it happen.
100%. Yeah. Have you lost any friends since you stopped drinking?
I'm not as popular as I used to be.
Right.
I wouldn't say I've lost friends,
But
and in general, people have been, at face value, supportive. But
sure.
When your whole friend thing, we just go out and get drunk every day or whatever it is, and people get weird too. When you tell them, "Hey, no, I don't drink anymore." First of all, they're like, well, "You don't
Shocked.
drink anymore,"
Right.
and then they feel weird about it.
Right.
Which, for some reason, I don't. You could sit, well, you wouldn't, but if somebody was in this room drinking my favorite
Right.
drink,
Right. Yeah. Wouldn't bother me a bit.
that's on you.
Right.
That's a decision you're making, and you can probably handle it. I can't, and I know I can't, so I'm not even going to put myself in that position to think about it.
As a matter of fact, if somebody was here drinking my favorite drink, I would tell them, if you want to go on a little hunt, you'd probably find 3 or 4 more bottles in the walls. I would imagine.
Yeah.
I still find bottles of vodka in this house.
Move some
Jesus.
furniture, and you're like,
yeah.
that's halfway full. What's
Well, I used to, and that'll lead me to the next question, but I used to keep a bottle right next to my bed.
Yeah.
So first thing in the morning, or at least before Circle K opened up, I'd have to chug some vodka so I could go throw up, so I could brush my teeth and get in the shower and shave and not cut the shit out of myself. Of course, you have a beard, but it's not good shaving sober when you're an alcoholic.
Absolutely.
So I had a whole video where I kind of talked about the 24 hours in the day of my life. Break it down like completely from the moment you wake up or what time you wake up, or if you even get sleep, because we all know alcohol shit sleep.
Yeah.
Just kind of walk me through a whole 24-hour period.
So I'd usually get to bed about 11, midnight, sometimes earlier if I passed out. I'd get up, and usually I would have a little bit of the bottle left over and start drinking right off the get. So I'd feel good again.
Sure.
Go throughout, get ready, get dressed for the day, make your little stop at Circle K, whatever it is, pick up a pint, and, that'll get you through to lunch, and then maybe stop, get another pint, or you go out and have lunch with, some coworkers or friends
Sure.
or whatever it is, have some drinks there. By the time you get home, you're feeling pretty nice. Oh, we're going to go ahead and just finish this off. So then I'm in front of the TV, or I'm on some crazy project that I came up with while I was drunk that's never going to come to fruition or whatever it might be. And till I pass out and then wake up and do it all over again.
The projects.
Yeah.
It's funny you hit on that. There's so many things. Yeah. I was going to do a million things when I was drunk. Then add some cocaine and I'm taking over the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
that's been a minute, but talking back, so there's got to be a little bit more detail to it than that. So I'm talking about like, were you drinking at work? I drank on the way to work. I drank the whole day there. I had my refrigerator full of water bottles, which are actually vodka bottles in the freezer.
Depending on what job I was at the
Right.
time, because
Oh, that's true.
through
You were
most of
working
it, I wasn't tattooing. But I mean, I've been tattooing for 22 years, but I took a real big gap because, you have kids and stuff and the money's a little different. But at the end of the day, I mean, I was a hydraulic mechanic driving around.
Yeah.
And I was on the road a lot.
Have one of them beer hats on with the two Jack
Pretty
bottles.
pretty
in it.
close. I mean, I'd have to make drives to California, and it would be like, oh, there's a couple tall cans
Sure.
and a bottle of Jack, and I'm just the whole time drinking.
Right.
And I had liquor at work. I mean,
Sure.
we all know about Wall Liquor. That's one
Oh
of my
my
favorite things in the
God.
world. So,
Wall liquor.
I had little stashes everywhere because you
Right.
got to, depending on where you go, it's like for me, it was a security blanket. All right,
Right.
I'm good. I got my juice.
Always.
So yeah, just a lot of that. One of my favorite things I love to do is get in the shower and drink.
Oh yeah.
I don't know
Oh, yeah.
why. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, but it was ingrained in everything.
Yeah.
We want to go out to eat. Well, where are we going to go? Do they serve liquor there? Because
Sure.
I'm not going to go to a beer place. I mean, I'll drink 20 beers, but I want liquor. Oh, we're going to go to the kids' baseball game. Well,
Yeah.
I got to stop and get a bottle I can throw in my pocket and go head off to the bathroom and hit while I'm doing that.
Right.
I mean, whatever it was planned around me having access to alcohol, and not just
100%.
access, but I need to make sure I had enough, because if I'm running out and I start to get sober, I'm losing my buzz. Now I'm having a bad time.
Yeah.
The mood swings coming, so it just totally centered my whole life off of making sure that I had alcohol.
Oh yeah.
Every step of the way. Yeah. Work, no problem. And I could do it. I could
Sure.
do it. You're driving around heavy equipment, drunk off my ass. You're
Understood.
lucky, like you said earlier.
Well,
I
yeah,
was
it's not
lucky.
functional. I mean, it's
Lucky.
functional because you're kind of cruising through it.
Functional, but
If
it's
functional
not, man.
means not being in jail once a month, then we were functional.
Yeah.
Talking about, well, man, you drank like the two most potently smelling alcohol in the world, beer and Jack.
Right.
Jesus. I mean, you could smell that from
Yeah.
halfway across, the house.
I smelled like a dive bar at all
Oh
times.
yeah.
But like that job, I didn't have. I was kind of on my own. I didn't really talk to my boss in the morning, and
Sure.
that was pretty much it. So, but vodka was definitely a go-to if I'm
Okay,
interacting with
okay.
people.
Sure.
Vodka and Altoids, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Right.
Because that alcohol, and you get a lot of mint. It's probably just mouthwash, or whatever it is. So
100%.
yeah.
I was a vodka guy, and you can mix it with anything, and it's super cheap.
Yeah.
Got to the point where I don't know if you did this, but started mixing my Circle K's up, so I didn't go to the same one every morning or 2 times a day.
Yeah.
God forbid, they know, this handle of vodka, that's for my roommate, and I'll be back, tomorrow for another one.
I would wait until I would get to the counter and they'd already have it. And then once
Oh, yeah.
that started happening,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, I get to find time for another Circle K, and I would stop on the way home from work. I'd be
Sure.
drinking all day at work. I'd come home. I'd stop at the Circle K. It was right at the end of the road where my work was at. I'd get a Powerade, pint of vodka, slam half the Powerade, pour the vodka in there.
There you go.
That way I can drive
That was it.
home and I'm just drinking Powerade. I mean, in a company vehicle, nonetheless,
Mm-hmm.
dude, disaster. I don't understand.
100%.
Like looking back, like how did you think any of that was going to get you anywhere but just a dead end? But it
Wow.
never crossed my mind while it was all going on,
That made me real quick think of a story when I first started working at Camping World in fictitious world. I didn't really work there, but I'm saying that I did. And it was the first week there, and I used to have a CDL, drove big trucks, right? And they had a rig to pick up down in Mesa, and they were going to drive me down there and drop me off. And word got out, Rodney used to drive 18-wheelers. So they're like, yeah, we'll send him down there. Well, I'd already been drinking half the day. So they send me all the way to Mesa. When I get there, not only am I picking up this big Class A, it's not a little, little B or C. I'm towing another one behind it. And here I am in this giant RV with the big giant square windows, looks like a bar in the dash.
Yeah.
I just got my fucking vodka and water sitting right up in the dash, just cruising on the highway with a giant Class A company truck, thinking, "Oh my God, if you screw up, man,
Yeah,
it's your
it's going to be
ass."
over quick. Yeah, I'd be doing this. I'm towing a big fifth wheel trailer with 20,000 pounds on the back of it,
Right.
going down a hill, and I'm just like,
Right.
have a cocktail hour. What else am I going to do? I'm bored.
Absolutely.
I'm going to drink while I'm driving.
Absolutely. You had talked about the wall liquor, and that's a funny word, but I'm going to have you tell a story from your point of view. You weren't drinking as much as I was at work. I don't know if you were drinking at Harley or not, but we worked at Harley Davidson Arrowhead together.
Yeah.
And just tell them the story about wall liquor from your eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. So wall liquor actually originated when I started in the car business at 18 years old. I had a guy that was teaching me. His name's Jerry Green. And he had in the bathroom right above the urinal was one of those little metal access panels where you just take a quarter and you could turn it and open it and the pipe's there. Well, he had always kept liquor in there in a little box of Altoids. You would go in there, take a pee, and you'd open up this thing and you'd take a couple glugs, eat an Altoid, go back out and sell cars.
Right.
And I always thought that was so great because you come search my desk. It's not on me. Everything. This is great. And got to go to the bathroom. Everybody's got to go to the bathroom.
Right.
And so when I got to Harley and you and I were working together and I decided, well, I'm going to reinstitute wall liquor. And I don't exactly remember how it came about, but I was like, Rodney, if you go in there and you do this and you open this up, there's vodka in there. And you were like, what? Like, you're telling me some kind of crazy tale. This is like Goonies. Like we're going to go through it, whatever to find it. And you and I daily would have take turns going to the store and filling that wall up with liquor. And I don't know if you remember this. This is the greatest part about the story and completely ridiculous. Yeah. They were doing construction because what we do is we finish the bottle and drop it down the wall.
Literally wall liquor.
Literally wall liquor. Right. And the empty bottle there, I don't know how many empty bottles are in that wall to this day, but the lights start flickering. They're doing work on the building or something. And I'm like, Rodney, those bottles shorted something out. Like, dude, the whole place is going to burn down because we got wall liquor. Like, it was just
wall liquor.
Yeah. But I'm happy to say I'll never have to open a door and pull liquor out of it again. So
it's a thing, people. Wall liquor is a thing. On a funny side here, I have a segment I want to start called Tales from the Drunk Side. And just, I mean, we got to have some humor in this. I mean, we've done a ton
you have to laugh
shit.
at your mistakes, and that's one of the best ways to get through it. So I agree with you.
Absolutely, the best way to learn. So what is the most, I would say, what is the place you found yourself drinking that you're like, I cannot believe I'm drinking here? Besides work and driving heavy
there's been
equipment.
So many places. I guess honestly, sitting at my kids' like 8th grade graduation,
right.
With a water bottle filled with vodka.
Oh yeah.
And I remember even just looking at it and just thinking, there's got to be other people here that are doing this. I can't be the only person. And maybe I wasn't, maybe I was, but just to look back at it and to say that sentence now,
right,
it's uncomfortable,
right?
Because it's like how could you sit there and drink through that?
How many people were in the room, do you think, total?
Probably 200.
There's at least 6.
There's at least 6. Yeah. I was thinking that. And that's something I always did too. I tried to, I'm not the only person. There's other people that drink.